This video is brought to you by TS4U IT Engineering Bootcamp.
So I have a follow-up question. So what was your responsibilities or involvement in the infra team, development team, and the deployment team?
Sure. So we have the three different teams. I think that I did not have the, you said the infra team and what else?
Infra team, dev team, and the deployment team?
Deployment team. Actually, I am actually part of the deployment team. So we have the DevOps team, infra team, and the working with the development team. Infra team is in our cases, they actually set up the enterprise level best practices, all each of the tools best practices, the tooling, templating, the GitOps. So they work with the solution architect, with the senior of senior, and they build all the best practices from the project beginning to the end. And so that's when we have a new project, actually I go to the infra team and look at all their best practices, all the documentation and the template, and actually implement them into the new project. And I am actually deploying and when I work on the development team. Part of the development team is my involvement is make sure the development team can develop and to the deployment at without any manual intervention. So in the beginning of the development is all I get to know the application, the systems, process, and the procedure, which programming language you are going to use, and which cloud, what services. Like just get to know the application. We have the system design documents, you have the business requirement documents, you have the architecture design documents. I become familiar with the architecture design documents and the system design documents. And these come from actually the architect team. They actually get the approval, then it come to us. That's we call the DevOps team or the deployment team. Based on the understanding of this documentation, I normally actually have a good the back and forth conversation with the architect. If I have any questions, I just clarify. Once a big part is done, this is the documents the development team is start implementing throughout the project. So I think as for the involvement so far, we follow the Agile Scrum. We have a 2-week sprint. We have a sprint planning meeting. I involve with the development very heavily, but my nature of the work is different. But my work also allocated everything through the sprint board as well. So the provisioning the infra, and then the creating the resources, and the creating the integration, installation, configuration, everything actually tracked through the project management platform and to the sprint, 2-week sprint. So if I tell you the beginning story, any project I work on, I always create my understanding and then create my own sandbox, and then actually play around my sandbox to understand, build a relationship with the backend developer, and then talk to the front-end developer, get to know like how the process and the procedure, like their internal, the work strategy, what is the best practice to set up a meeting with them, to communicate with them, what is the preference, like email communication or the chat communication, or the making a comments on the user story. So this kind of the best practice I do just to build a relationship. Once I get hold on everything, that I have a good relationship with the entire team, I get to know the QA team as well, and who is actually the front end, the QA, who is the back end QA, then what is the method of the communication. Again, the same, I follow, like I build a relationship with the developer. Once I have the good understanding, now I start working on it. The beginning, create all the infra, the beginning, all the deployment is the manual, but my focus is give the development environment and the engaging the QA for the time being, while I am working on the preparing the test environment. So you can say that in between the 2 to 3 weeks, the window, the QA actually work in the development environment working with the developer. Of course, this is not a good environment. The QA always complain that they are not preferring to test in the development environment. So I actually give them only 2 to 3 weeks. In 3 weeks, actually, I prefer the test environment, and the same thing, and test environment, and pass the credential and all the details, and the QA environment is ready. The QA can start working on their environment. And then while the QA is busy, I start focusing on the prepare the staging environment. So again, the things are easy because I have all the template on the Terraform side, and we follow the GitHub strategy so that my provision become easy because the naming convention is different, the resource is the different, but the less changes, I can start the process and get this going. And the finally start working on the production environment. So that's the kind of things I do currently.